Hello everyone, good morning. We'll be having, there's the extended discussion what I was covering as a part of masterclass. And we have I would say the interesting panel here, from the manufacturing side and from the devices side, Mahesh is there. And also Pushpendra have been very active into handling this from the issuer side, from the bank side as well. So we'll have to, get the maximum out of this session. So we would like to just start with the introduction first. So Mahesh and Pushpendra, you can please introduce yourself, what you are currently covering on.
Sure. Hi, good morning. My name is Mahesh Patel. I work with Hitachi Payment Services, one of the largest payment solution provider in the country, in the capacity of Director of Products and Digital Transformation. I have experience of almost 25 years now in payment industry. Have done ATMs, transaction processing, point of sale, and so on. And have also worked very closely with NPCI in building the entire tech stack for them. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, everyone. So I recently left RBL Bank after 12 years. I had 2 stints at different departments in RBL. First 6 years I used to head compliance there, and last 6 years I used to head digital business at RBL. So the whole Digital India initiative, COVID, the Yes Bank crisis, all milestones on how digital has evolved generally and for specifically RBL. I started my career with Reserve Bank of India. I worked there for 5 years, and I have also worked in Barclays, Bank of America, and ANZ in the middle. But last 12 years were in RBL, and interesting. Stint on the business side. Not many people move from compliance to business side. Actually, I've seen the reverse. Business guys moving to support functions. But the opportunity came, and glad to be here. We, with few of my friends, we have started India FI. We are looking to do some use cases on payment and collection, and also explore the gift city potential. You will hear more about India FI. It's a very new company, so I'll reserve my comments on how the entity will do or what we'll do for a later date. So thank you, Vikrant. Thank you for having us. Hope we are able to share our insights on this very important topic at this event. Thank you.
Sure. So offline merchants, or I would say the POS perspective or payment aggregator physical perspective. So this is a very specific set of segment which has been there. And I'm glad to have both of you who have worked so deeply into this segment. Pushpendra, just coming back to you from the merchant acquiring, which has moved beyond the acceptance. So what are the important changes you have seen in the your experience from the acquiring perspective?
See, how acquiring has evolved is, we 10 years back, we were card heavy, country. Now, even government about 8 years back was pushing Jan Dhan, where debit cards were to be issued. The consumer infra, merchant infra was basically about credit card acceptance in terms of the POS device. The hardware, only few types of hardware were available in POS. But I think the real potential came when UPI came of age and interoperability sort of kicked in, and the whole capex bit got sorted out when UPI QR code came into picture. So now we are at a very interesting juncture where acceptance infra in form of UPI QR code is very, very, very low cost. You simply have to print a QR code and get started. But the trends are varied because for low value transactions, we sort of trust UPI, but even if it goes to a medium range or some amount where we are not sure, or we are looking for either a reward or some sort of cashback or some reward or some discount coming in, we still trust the other modes. Like other modes could be, if you have a credit card, you look for credit card rewards. You may be doing a bank transfer. You may be taking a loan for those merchant transactions. So I think, we are living two different lives as far as Indian economy is concerned. UPI, 20 billion transaction or 21 every month, it jumps by 1 billion, But value-wise, credit card transactions are still very high. So there's a volume picture and there's a value picture. So I think there's space. India is such a large country that there's space for all type of payment instruments, all type of physical hardware to be used. So if you want to start quick and dirty, UPI acceptance is the way to go. But if you're looking for higher ticket size, then one of the things which many people said, and you had an interesting slide on SoftPOS, MPOS, and the real POS. We Indians look for a payment confirmation. And why POS are still in vogue is because you get a printed charge slip. We need a proof of a transaction getting done in an audit trail that I paid and this is the proof. We still don't trust a SMS confirmation or a email coming in for a transaction. So why POS are there? One could wonder. But the printing, the slip printing thing is our vote of confidence in that instrument. Otherwise, SoftPOS is a better technological possibility. But so I think India is very unique in terms of a customer mindset, how we perceive risk in a transaction, and what sort of confirmation we want back. For low ticket size, we don't really, we are happy in scanning a page and letting the transaction go through without any confirmation coming back. But as soon as the ticket size goes through, we either look for something coming back to us in some sort of confirmation or cashback or reward points. But for low ticket size, we are good to go on UPI. So I think, from form factor to a device factor to a card factor, you can make a full grid and then keep plotting, every transaction size which can fit in there. So, I think that's how so much variety is there in acceptance infra. And almost all segments are growing. So that is a good thing.
Sure, thanks. By just extending that discussion with you, what Pushpendra was mentioning from the variety of devices. So how much it is complex to have these devices integrated to the backend side? Because the evaluation of devices have also been seen. I mean, talking about the physical POS devices or MPOS or even the scan and pay options and along with the sound boxes, etc. So it has also evolved. So from the device perspective, would like to know your views on it.
Yeah, see, it is very interesting evolution that we have seen, and as Pushpendra sir said, that there are variety of mode of payments which are now available. Unlike we used to have cards only, and we have seen those days when there used to be dial-up POS, PS10 POS, where for a transaction to complete it used to take almost 2 minutes, because device used to dial up, establish connection, then card used to be swiped and authorization used to come. And it was only cards, that too initially only credit cards. Then because others were issuing only ATM cards and not debit cards, so it was only credit cards, then it became debit card. Then came QR code, right? In QR code, then challenge was that how to get the QR code on the screen and also deliver the confirmation. I think Innovity was the first one to crack it at that point of time. Then came Android devices, and it became much smarter in terms of offering variety of acceptance on those devices. As you showcased in your pyramid, small merchants, small to medium, large enterprises. There is a big market, and you need to offer, variety to your merchants. They can pick and choose from depending on their business size and, ticket size and so on. However, the challenge remains on integrating all of these devices to the main payment processing ecosystem, where I think there is a new component that has got introduced recently called middleware, which kind of aggregates all of these payment form factors, and then it connects to different processing systems like UPI switch or EFT card switch and so on. The way it would evolve is something which we'll possibly discuss, but I see, might be we have taken 10-15 years to move from PSTN POS terminal to GPRS POS terminal. Now from GPRS to Android, it took about 5 years. From Android devices to next, I think very soon we'll see that.
Yeah, sure. So Pushpendra, so we were also discussing on the overall acquiring piece of it, right? When the acquiring happens, but there is other part of acquiring side from the banks. I mean, in your earlier experiences, also you would have seen multiple integration challenges with the end devices and with the network as well as with the processor. Would you like to share something on top of that, how that can be done and how that has evolved?
See, I think we are all suffering consequence of a cheaper internet being available and our tendency for the instant gratification. So the point I'm trying to make is between a gross or a batch settlement versus a instant payment going through. You can look into your own lives on how much, if payment is free, what will you choose? Will you choose a IMPS or will you choose a NEFT? And also imagine a scenario, if there is a cost for a payment transaction to be done, what will you choose? Will you choose a NEFT or will you choose a IMPS? Now, the whole integration of various devices, various technology in a open architecture, interoperable architecture, where Visa, Master, RuPay, all type of instruments are to be used, and the load has to be borne by bank's system or the vendor system. That the challenge is humongous. We're dealing with universal players where all instruments are issued by banks. It's a miracle, mini miracle sort of things that the reliability we enjoy of our systems in India is a testament that how much we have progressed through. Any system going down of a bank becomes a national headline in 2 hours these days. So, all channels, all type of devices has to work 24/7, 365. And we as a society, obviously it's a very different question that how much we should charge for these payment services. But assuming it's free and UPI continues to be free, the system load is a topic which is not discussed enough. How much bank has to go through behind the scene to make systems work. So, it's a challenge which is not appreciated enough. And, I sort of sympathize with every bank's technology team on how much a reliability has to be built into all of these processes. But, I think that's the cost we have paid for being the most developed country in the world as far as payment is concerned. Anywhere in the world you go, you will have crisis of confidence as far as your payments are concerned. For every transaction we get two confirmations. One is a debit done and a credit happening on the other side, that confirmation. So in absence of these confirmations, in real-time scenario, you tend to suffer whether the payment has gone or not, whether the guy received or not. And, payments will continue to be a push payment mechanism for a voluntary act and a trust to be established. A pull method didn't fully even succeed in India. So when you push payment, you require the systems and then the counterparty to give a confirmation that the money has reached the destination. That is only possible in real time in India. And when you say this confirmation comes, this actually means system load. So I think our consumer mentality and however we have been distorted by ease of payment in India. System integration is the cost which institutions pay. It's a topic not discussed enough, but I'm sure the complexity is just too huge for the technology guys to manage.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, the downtime point you mentioned about, I've seen that very closely when I was in earlier role. So there I was handling payment systems as well. So I've seen that it's very critical. Also the TDs, I mean, technical declines has to be lower, right? So that also gives a lot of pressure on handling this system. But Mahesh would like to understand from you, from the device perspective, how these complexities have been handled to ensure that the end-to-end transaction takes place. Also the security of that device has been taken care of.
So when it comes to card payments, there are established standards by EMVCO, card schemes as well, and PCI obviously, how to secure the card transaction and process that. There are operating guidelines which are given by the card schemes in terms of exceptional scenarios, how the transaction needs to be handled, like initiating reversals, initiating refunds, and so on. And all of these functionalities are typically built into the terminal application. And these have been practiced, tested for years or decades, I would say. However, when it comes to new age payments like QR code, UPI, wallets, I think those are still evolving. While we process humongous volume on UPI, but there are certain transaction journeys where if the shopkeeper do not get confirmation on his device, because it's a push payment as he has mentioned, shopkeeper would be hesitant to deliver goods and services to the customer. Now that becomes a friction point for customer and merchant, where customer says that I have paid, but merchant says that I have not received, which can be a avoidable scenario. And that's where I think the ecosystem would evolve over a period of time. Some of those steps have already been taken, like refund API in UPI has been introduced last year, and that has been implemented by most of the acquirers now. However, on static sound boxes, how that would work is something which I think a lot of teams are working on, and we'll see some beautiful things happening over there as well, where in case the notification does not get delivered on the sound box, the transaction would get reversed immediately. And also, in terms of overall customer experience, it becomes very important that the trust that I put in while making a payment, that should not shake at all. So device reliability has to be taken care of in that sense.
Sure. So I have a few questions to cover, but we'll take first any questions from the audience side before I move on to any next question. Just a minute, it's arranging mic.
Good morning, sir. First of all, thank you for the insights that we've shared till now. There is one thing specifically that I wanted to understand, that with the new PAPG licenses that have come up, right? There is also distribution of QR codes and offline devices to these license holders. With the current companies that have captured the market in the particular physical QR, right? Do you think that there is still enough space and market share for a new entrant to come in and get into the QR and a physical POS business? How difficult or easy do you think that is?
See, why? I think you go back and please examine the fact that why payment aggregator licenses were issued. Now, banks will never be in a business of importing hard physical POS machines from overseas and distribute it locally. They are not hardware companies, right? They will never be able to do servicing of a POS machine, or why printer is not working, or slip is not coming, and slip is in short supply. Banks don't do that business. So POS business will always be done by private sector. It was always done by private sector. Earlier there were some joint ventures with banks, and then private companies started it. But every bank has exited those JVs, and now POS is purely a private sector business. Now, banks have done a okay job in addressing the payment UI UX reliability. They are happy in allowing their pipes to private sector, so that reliability, better UI UX, cross sell can be done. And such is the volume of payments in India that when private sector becomes big, the regulator always have to worry about a point of failure or occurring outside a system where they don't have oversight. And that's how logically PA licenses have come into picture. Now PA license was only in online world because in online world I don't see you. What Mahesh was saying, when I pay across a merchant and he doesn't get the money, he doesn't deliver, it's happening physically. But in the online world, when you buy something and it doesn't get delivered, the trust factor comes into question. And the trust is very important factor as far as payments is concerned. It can put the whole system into crisis if I lose trust in paying you. So it had to be regulated. Now, to answer your question, is there space available? Yes. India is such a big country. The service standards of every player can always be better, including banks. If banks had done a fair job in doing this business, private sector would not have come into picture. So I think, so many players keep coming. And look at the number of licenses which have been given, and every player has found a niche across sector, across use case, and everyone seems to be doing well. Now, what is hurting this part of the sector or part of economy is the unit economics. Sorry to say, but payments is like dhania mirchi on top of when you buy vegetables, right? Everyone wants it free. No one wants to pay for it. But there is a system cost which everyone is incurring. Now, I think the hope part of the story is almost getting over, and the reality is kicking in as far as sustainability of these economics and viability of these companies. So a shake-up may come, but the opportunity is just too big for any player who gets his use case right, gets the economics right. See, no single player will be able to service the entire country. It is very clear. The biggest of the bank also will not be able to service everyone. There is always a scope for a newer player. Use case, unit economics, if they get it right, there's enough money to be made here.
Sure. Maybe I will add to what Sir said is, definitely India is a huge market, and there is enough space for everybody to operate and add value. And specifically, the use case specific solutions are the trend today, where just to add to his analogy, Dhania Mirchi, he is absolutely right. Nobody wants to pay for payments. But if I actually chop that Dhania Mirchi to your size and give it to you, then possibly you would be able to pay me something. So that is what people are trying to do. They are trying to tailor their solutions as per the business requirements, integrating back with their ERP solutions, creating the overall merchant as well as customer experience in payments, which is seamless. I think that's where the game is, and that's where the opportunity is now. You are right that entire market is flooded with QR codes and POS machines and stuff like that. But when it comes to very tailored solutions, segment-specific solutions, those are very few to count, and that's where I think the real innovation is.
So just extending that, yesterday we were having a discussion with Ashok from Zoho Payment. So he was mentioning the same thing what you are saying. That is more on the online side and the ERP side of it, that how they have started integrating and providing the specific solutions to the specific set of merchants.
I'll give you an analogy, which you are experiencing in your life. I don't know how many of you actually logged into internet banking and when. You're moving to apps now. I'm sure apps will also be passé because internet connectivity, app updation, number of clicks. I'm sure there's something else coming in where a voice-led payment or your screen-led payment, whichever the screen you are, whether it's ERP or your laptop. I'm sure you can, if you're up to a ticket size or up to your risk appetite, you can click on that screen and payment goes through. So, every method, every channel will become obsolete much quicker than what we are anticipating, right? So, people don't even carry their wallets these days, right? Your mobile is good enough. I'm sure that someday your voice will be good enough. So let's see what future beholds.
Sure. I think there was one more question.
Yeah. So I had a question on the offline space, like offline payment space. So what I understand is that there is no payment model in it. Like I'm talking about UPI 123. I'm also talking about some of the aggregators who had come in the market, like Don't Tag, Listener. They're doing their bits and pieces. But how do you see a payment model or a business model like getting involved like from that?
Again, the answer is same. When we talk about UPI, it's a bit of a sensitive topic. There is no money in it. We are processing billions of transactions, and there is some cost to process this transaction. Somebody is paying for those costs, not merchant, not customer. However, the way the products are built around the whole payment ecosystem and the services are built around that payment ecosystem, I think that's where money is to be made. When you talk about offline payments or UPI 123 kind of setup as well, there again, it depends on the takers and users of those solutions and services. But UPI Lite kind of solution is offline solution where it is designed specifically to reduce cost of issuer bank, right? Where for a small ticket transaction, you can actually do it from your UPI Lite wallet and not post that transaction into your core banking account. Because once the transaction is initiated and posted back in your core banking account, that entire cost of that transaction goes to almost 1 rupees. So imagine for 10 rupees or 20 rupees transaction somebody is doing, and bank is actually bearing 1 rupees cost for that transaction, which is huge. So that is how the UPI Lite solution was devised. UPI 123 is more of an accessibility solution for feature phones, which I think is not as popular. And given the smartphone penetration, the way it is going on, I don't think we need to really worry about that as an industry right now, because that's a diminishing segment, if I may say that. everybody is going to upgrade to smartphones someday, and they will start using scanner or camera to scan the QR code rather than using 1, 2, 3 kind of solution.
If I may add, I think this is the cost of innovation, a consequence of innovation which we suffer as an economy. The inverter business, I'll take you back to days when electricity used to go. Inverter business thrived. Now you can have a view today that if electricity supply is assured, is inverter needed, right? So, the balance has to be between how much we innovate, or sorry to say, but the word jugaad, how much jugaad we apply over the previous jugaad and come to a solution or a use case which is accepted by market. But that's what an innovator does. He believes something will kick, and he brings that piece. But whether it finds its own feet, only time will tell. I'm sure if internet availability is hampered, see, we are enjoying fruits of a good internet reliability in terms of UPI. Versus, if I just take an example of UPI Lite, I'm sure we will load our UPI Lite wallets if internet availability was disrupted. But if internet availability continues to be good, UPI Lite will fight against UPI, because who will believe that internet goes up and down? So see, I think payment ecosystem is just not just one factor. There are so many factors. If your bank reliability goes down, if you have full internet and the bank is down, how will you transact? So see, it's a very complex picture. When we talk about payment reliability, there's so many constituents. So we are enjoying fruits of other sectors doing well, some sectors not doing well, some use case picking because there is inefficiency somewhere. If core banking solutions solve the problem for bankers, there will not be newer use cases for UPI and payments, right? So I think this is an ongoing thing where one thing will have to be adjusted by other thing improving on its own,
Thank you.
Sure. So just extending that thought from the transaction perspective, meanwhile we were mentioning in between also that merchant trust is very important, and often it's been seen that during the transaction, of course it is required, but the services which have been provided after the transaction, be it reconciliation or be it overall analysis for the transactions which they have done, any views on that? Does it play any role in the merchant's acceptance or from merchant's perspective?
See, you're missing one word there. It's not about recon or other things. Fraud is also a big problem. In an online, semi-online world, impersonation or you believing in one QR or one payment mode or one beneficiary and it goes somewhere else, it all boils down to trust. You call it lack of recon, lack of confirmation, whatever. It's all quasi words for absence of trust. Payment systems have to ensure reliability and trust without fail. If you take a knock on these two words, your business will be hampered, or that typology will be hampered. So we are now very mentally tuned to a confirmation coming within seconds. If it doesn't come in seconds, we become nervous. And we tend to inquire more. And again, in terms of system load, it's a system load on other modes of channels for the bank. You start calling someone, or you call a branch, or it's a cascading effect. So any payment method has to be self-servicing, self-fulfilling. If it is not, then the consequence in terms of lack of recon or lack of confirmation or the fraud, or you assuming a fraud and the confirmation comes later, a reversal transaction, a refund API, are all parts to solve that a bit on the trust part. So and fraud is a big problem, because we believe in the instrument, and then we, anyone who has suffered a fraud, ask him, his whole faith in the system gets shaken up. He can very well go back to cash mode again if we suffered a big enough fraud. So, reliability, trust in payment system has to be inbuilt into system. If it is not, then that system, that mode of payment or the instrument will not fly. It will suffer a dent.
Sure. Mahesh, any quick view from your side on this?
Yeah, I think fraud, and another thing is dispute, where it is not fraud, but it is a dispute. And the scenario that I talked about a while back, where customer is initiating a transaction, but merchant is not getting confirmation. And it happens both in card transaction as well as in QR code transaction. In card transaction, there is a inbuilt protocol where, in case the transaction confirmation is not initiated, you initiate a reversal, right? Because the transaction is initiated from the terminal. But in case of QR, especially the static QR, device does not know whether the transaction is initiated. So it is just waiting for alert, if at all initiated from anywhere. And if that alert is not delivered on the device, then that becomes a friction point. And believe me guys, when you talk to any merchant, any shop owner who is passionate about his business, he hates this kind of scenario, because he does not want to return the customer because payment confirmation is not received. At the same time, he does not also want to, he doesn't want an unhappy customer whose experience is, as bad, like, I initiated a payment, but I don't know what happened and I did not get goods and services. So he may take a risk of, giving or delivering that goods and services to the customer, later on realizing that the payment never happened. So, this flux kind of situation is very dangerous for his business, and they are very sensitive about this. So any service provider, any solution that delivers, almost 100% guarantee of all the payments, I think they would look for those kind of solutions. Also, the way it would evolve, maybe we can talk later, but, it is also important that for large enterprise merchants, the real-time reconciliation of transactions along with their sales is also something which is viewed extremely as extremely important, because they are spending weeks and months in reconciling those transactions, especially given that there are various different channels through which the transactions are coming, and the new age acquirers have made it, or aggregators I would say, have made it more difficult for them, because they get settlement from 2-3 different banks and different payment methods and so on. So that reconciliation would solve a lot of issues for them.
The situation gets complex for large merchants because a GST has to be paid on sales, even if there's a dispute or the payment has actually not come. It failed, but you got a confirmation and it got refunded. Very complex picture, at least large merchants are concerned, or any large enterprise is concerned. If you have large pool of customers, whether you are the NBFC or a large company, dealing with different players, or a single bank also, because that single bank also is dependent on other vendors to give payment solutions. So, the situation is very complex for the large ones. The small ones are still saved, because in UPI, instantly they are able to see, a confirmation then and there. But the problem also is there in P2M also, because, the statement download itself is such a difficult activity as far as... So we are living in different worlds. Every use case, every sector has a different problem to be solved. Despite all technology and all sophistication of payments still coming in. We are the most developed country in payments, but yet, someone was asking about potential. That's the potential. No one is happy. You file your tax return, try giving your bank statement to CA, it goes in 20 pages these days, right? Or 50 pages, because you have a 10 rupee transaction spread all over. So every some sophistication, unintended consequences are also creeped in, which requires solutioning again, and that's where the opportunity is.
Sure. Thank you very much for being with us and sharing this insightful thoughts on the topic. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pushpendra Sharma and Mr. Mahesh Patel, for sharing your valuable insights. And thank you, Mr. Vikrant Kulkarni, for moderating this session. May I now request Mr. Vikrant Kulkarni to present tokens of appreciation, followed by a quick photograph.